Joined by the head coach of the Sounders FC, Sigi Schmid, who I'm guessing is a Los Angeles Lakers fan coming out of that basketball.
Definitely, a little more of a Lakers fan, but also very much so a Steve Nash fan.
Okay, well you could admit it with the Lakers because I'm from LA also. All that time in Los Angeles with UCLA and the LA Galaxy. Not that you want to hear the words LA Galaxy today. 4-0 loss at Quest Field, but what message did you leave the team with after you met with them earlier today?
Well, obviously the message to our team was that right now the results aren't good enough. You know, our results have to be better. I thought our effort was good for the first 60 minutes. I think once they got the second and the third goal and a couple of goals were bad goals, you don't expect the mistakes to happen. I think we sort of, you know, handed it in at that point and felt we couldn't come back. But our results have to be better, and I know we're capable of doing it.
I know it's the question that everybody wants to ask. And you said you'll never do it again. But why were you wearing a sport jacket on the sidelines yesterday?
I don't know. I've just worn different things. I mean, I used to go through all kind, you know, just slacks and polo and stuff like that. So I tried this, and I go, well, maybe a sport jacket on the sideline just doesn't suit me, so I got to try something different. Not that that probably impacted the game, but it's my silly superstition.
And never again now, right?
Probably not for a while.
Well, some interesting news today as the Sounders announced they're paying back all their season ticket holders with a credit next year because of yesterday's game. Were you surprised by that move?
Surprised a little bit, yeah, definitely. Shocked, no, because it's just the commitment that our management and our ownership has made to our fans. You know, I mean, our fans, you know, stayed and supported us throughout the game on Saturday, and they clapped us off the field. If we would have put that kind of result in when I coached in L.A., we would have been ducking for cover coming off the field. But I think it's a commitment of our management to our fans and showing that, you know, we set high standards for ourselves.
We talked about this. This is a pretty rare move for a franchise to do something like this. It's a costly move also. I'm assuming it's also a wake-up call for some of the players?
Yeah, it should serve as a wake-up call because obviously if they're willing to return that money, they're certainly not afraid to cut anybody's contract. But on the other hand, you know, I want the fans out there to realize that our guys are committed, that our guys, you know, want to put in the effort week in and week out, and that they're going to put in the effort week in and week out. We haven't lost a plot or lost a desire to succeed.
You said you were impressed with the support even after yesterday's game. Do you feel like fans are frustrated right now?
Fans are frustrated just like I am as a coach, and
right.
Just like the players are. You know, we want results just as badly as they do. You know, they're frustrated, but they're supportive, and you know, it's our duty to turn it around and make it happen, and I think we will do that.
Well, there was at least a couple positives yesterday. One of them was 20-year-old Miguel Montano. We got to see him for the first time. I know it's a lot to put on a guy. He really does, looking at him, remind a lot of people of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that look. He's got a little bit of that hairstyle. The body build is sort of the same. He threw in a few step-overs as well on that one move. But
right.
He's a player, I think, that's got a huge upside. And he's got a lot of potential. And what I really like is he plays with a lot of energy.
Is he a guy that you see starting in the lineup in the near future?
It's possible. You know, we got to make sure, you know, he had a little bit of a knock after the game. Got to make sure he's healthy. But you know, if he comes out on the field and plays with that energy, he's going to make some mistakes because of his youth. But his energy will make up for that.
Injuries have been somewhat costly over the course of this year. How about some other moves, any other changes that you might be looking to make?
We're always looking at things. We're always contemplating things. You know, we're looking at teams, you know, trades or things that we can make, signing other players. What else can we pick up in the transfer window? But certainly, you know, getting Noonan back on the field, getting Nate Jaquo back on the field is something that's going to help our team.
Let's have to talk about Nate Jaquo in a quick second. You talked about the transfer window. It opens up in July. If you were a betting man, do you think Freddie Montero is going to be here through the summer?
That's something that's sort of out of my ballpark. You know, I leave that with Adrian a little bit, and they talk about that a little bit more. I mean, obviously, Freddie had a very good first season here and drew some attention to himself. This year, it hasn't been as good, so, you know, maybe that attention has waned. I don't know. But certainly, you know, he wants to do well. He wants to play well, and the better he plays, the more opportunities present themselves.
One heck of a free kick he had earlier this year, of course, to score a goal for you guys. I know Nate Jaquo expected back to practice, I believe, on Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yeah, Nate should be back out there, you know, doing a lot of work as, say, a neutral player where he's not full on in practice, but getting some touches, getting some running, and maybe that's an indication that hopefully he's only a couple weeks away.
You're looking a couple weeks, hopefully, to get him back on the field, potentially games?
Couple of weeks where he should be able to at least come off the bench and give us some minutes off the bench, maybe not necessarily start because he's got a huge fitness deficit right now he has to make up as well, but at least where we can get him back on the field in a reserve role.
Well, Sigi Schmid is joining us tonight. If we listed his accomplishments, your accomplishments, we'd probably be sitting here till midnight. That being said, it's still early. How tough has this year been for you so far? 9 games or 8 games, 9 points so far?
Yeah, 8 games, 9 points is is a bad run right now in this league. I always say if you're averaging 2 points a game, you're on a very good run. If you average a point a game, it's not a good run. You got to get about 1.5 points a game to make the playoffs, to assure yourself of being there. It's always frustrating because I take things personally, and I want to see our team succeed. So for us now, it's a matter of all of us making sure that we're dotting the I's, crossing the T's, looking at what we're doing, training a little bit harder, and carrying ourselves through. We got to be better in the 18-yard boxes, ours and the opponents, and if we can do that, we'll get success.
All comes down to the penalty boxes. A lot more to get to with Sigi Schmid. I want to talk a little World Cup with you coming up next month. And also, what does he honestly think of the electricity jerseys? I don't want the company line here. It's coming up next. To the friendlies this summer. The Boca Juniors on May 26th and Celtic on July 18th. Do we know who the third friendly's against?
Not right now. Okay. I know we're talking to a couple of teams. I mean, it's been a little difficult for us to schedule them because of the summer and us being in the CONCACAF Champions League, and those scheduling conflicts have made it hard.
Well, I got to get your thoughts on the electricity jerseys you're going to be wearing in these 3 games.
They're very bright. They're very yellow. We might have to have sunglasses, but I think they're different. It's something, again, that I think is unique to this club, coming up with something that's very different, that's very much out there and sets a tone, just like our Rave Green jerseys did. Very
different they are. Maybe this is a question more for Adrian Hanauer, general manager, more than anything, but how much of an issue outside of scheduling is the field turf in trying to schedule these games with the international friendlies?
Sometimes that's an issue for some of the teams, but what's happening is that barrier is breaking down a little bit, because you look at Russia's main field in Moscow is field turf. FIFA's just come out and has approved field turf at a couple of other venues, throughout Europe. There's a big concentrated effort and research being done by FIFA that's comparing injury rates on field turf versus natural grass, and I think in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see a little bit of a different attitude towards field turf, and you're going to see more teams possibly having field turf stadiums.
How close were you to the situation when Barca almost pulled out of last year's international friendly?
Luckily they keep me out of some of those things, so I don't have to worry about them too much.
Didn't want you to sweat the couple days leading up to it, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, the schedule can become pretty congested later this summer. Can this team handle so many games in such a small amount of time in July?
Definitely. I mean, I think if we're healthy, it seems like we're getting our injuries now. So if we get our injuries now and don't have injuries there, plus with the additions that we make with Kufo coming as well in the summer, Jaco being healthy again, I think we have enough personnel that we can handle that part of it. We did it last year between the Open Cup and our league, and we hope to do it again.
A lot of buzz around Kufa. Do you want to talk about him a little bit?
Well, he's just he's a big striker. He's had a history of scoring goals. I mean, those instincts are not something you can teach. You can tell somebody, I want you to try and do this, maybe, look for these opportunities, but it's really just an innate skill that you have, and he's shown that over the years. He had a tremendous run this year with Twente. It's the first time they've won a championship, and I think forever in their league. So, he should be coming over as a very confident player. But I hope fans don't think he's going to be the savior, but he's certainly going to be a very important part of our team.
World Cup starts next month. What do you see in that opener between U.S. and England?
I see a very intense game. Obviously for the English, there's still this feeling that they do soccer a little bit better than we do.
Right.
And there's that pride and maybe a little bit of arrogance that they're going to come out to the field with. And for us, it's a little bit of showing that, maybe 1950 wasn't a fluke. So we want to do it again.
Exactly. A lot of U.S. Americans obviously want to see the same thing. Do you have a prediction who's going to win the whole thing?
It's tough to say. I mean, Spain looks really good. Obviously, they did very well in the last European Championships, and they're a solid team. Brazil's always going to be right there in the hunt for it. Is there a wild card team that can maybe sneak up there? Germany and Italy have always traditionally done well. But I got a feeling it's going to come down to between Spain and Brazil.
Spain and Brazil, you heard it here first. Sounders head to New York next Saturday looking for 3 points, hopefully get back in this playoff hunt. Sounders coach Sigi Schmid, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again. A new twist to the Tiger Woods